Hello. Looks like we're starting today. Um, yep. So to begin with, hello, mini makers. Today we're gonna be finishing off our spiritual or mystic vending machine. So just to catch everybody up on this, this is a vending machine that exists in, let's say, if you're just wandering through a forest or something, you see a vending machine out here, and then you can give an offering into the offering box, and then it will dispense all of your normal like a vending machine. So let me first, I'm going to make this bottom part a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna go into the cutters. Let me turn on screencast keys for anybody who wants it. So going into the cutters. So I'm learning how to use hard ops more, which is a type of modeling, basically like a Blender workflow. And yeah, it's just taking a little bit of time for me to get familiar with it. Normally I don't use many add-ons, definitely not any paid add-ons. But anyway, so this is what we got so far. We got our vending machine. We got our way to pay the vending machine. We have what our vending machine dispenses. We added a little shrine-like roof, and then we added the spiritual paper envelope on the side to ward evil, I guess. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna be finishing off the items that are going inside. So I picked a couple items. I'm gonna pick the traditional talisman, maybe a cherry blossom, wind bells, and a bunch of other little things. So most of the time on today's stream is gonna be spent making the charms that the vending machine is gonna dispense. So, and then of course we're gonna add some wood grain to the vending machine itself and to this upper part. So basically we're gonna add some wood grain, so it's gonna kind of look like that. Class. We're gonna do that in sculpt mode after we finish the stuff in the inside. And then we're gonna do the same here. Gonna give it a little bit more texture, a little bit more detail. You know. And then we're gonna do it across the top here too. And now all be done in sculpting mode, but everything else is probably gonna be modeled for the most part. Just get rid of this. So now it's gonna be going on to the thing that I like doing the most. Oh, also, if you wanna catch, I put the first portion of this stream, what I did yesterday, in the description. If anybody wants to check it out, they can go in the description and see the first part of this that I did yesterday. Okay, so today we're just gonna start with the thing I like the most when 3D modeling and making stuff for miniatures is making tiny versions of real life items. So the first thing we're gonna start with is a charm, like one of the paper or wooden charms used to ward off spirits and give protection and whatnot. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a cube here, click it, move G to move it around, And then what we're going to do is we're going to give it some bevels. And then we're going to put a hole in the top. And then we're not going to put any like drawing details on it, because I would rather have that be like painted on when I actually finish it out. I may give it a little bevel on the inside as well, but we'll see how that looks when I get to it. So we're gonna make it thinner. This, gonna push it in there. We're probably gonna have this closer to the inside. Make it a little bit taller. So what we're gonna do is we're going to probably gonna bevel all the edges here. Not all the edges. So I'm gonna go into edit mode, click the edges here. So if I shift click, I can select the edges and then add kind of like a one bevel here, like that. So the first thing I'll do is apply the scale and then add the bevel so it's a little bit more uniform. And then I'll probably make it a little bit taller and thinner. And then just make it smaller in general, like that. So then what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of a, let's just call it like an inset. So I'm gonna go into hard ops, box cutter, and I'm just gonna add a, let me see if I can, I'm gonna fly something out. I'm gonna see if I can use this as a cutter. So how would I, whatever, I'll just do the same thing again. So I'm going to add it here. So I click the object, go into box cutter, make sure I'm doing cut mode, and then draw the what I want to cut. I'm gonna cut it inside here a little bit. So I'll take that, go to that cutter in the tab menu, and then I will, if I just, I'm just gonna move it to the same dimensions on the X and the Y. So I'm just gonna copy this, sorry, the X and the Z. Copy this Z. Because when the objects are paired, they don't like moving. They don't like moving around very well. Okay, so now that should be in the middle. Perfect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do the same thing I did with the actual talisman portion, which is just take the edges here, and then I'm gonna bevel them. Give it kind of the same look. I could either bevel them with one bevel, or I could bevel them with multiple bevels. And just see which one I like more. I think I like the mirroring that happens with just the one bevel. And then I'm going to duplicate this, make it a little bit bigger. Move it over a little bit there. And then I'm going to go into edit mode, delete these middle faces here, or inset them slightly. Inset them slightly like that. Then I'm going to, I'm gonna see if I can bridge these faces. Now I'm just gonna delete these faces here. And then I'm gonna select the front and the back edge loop. And then I'm gonna see if I can bridge those edge loops. There we go. And then I'm going to make another difference there. And that adds that very talismanic look. I'll probably move the cutter slightly closer so it's just more of a shallow cut. Like that. Really play with it to the kind of thing I want. That makes it disappear. Maybe there. Okay. So that's our talisman. You take this, move this up a little bit. And then I'm gonna add a hole at the top here. Just by doing the same thing. Clicking on it, hitting D to go make a circle, and then just making the circle here. And then just going all the way through. Excuse me. So then I will just take this cutter here. Then move it down slightly. And that will be where you can sort of put your... That can where you'll put your lope or your sling. Just gonna make a couple of these. Just to lay them. So I can give them the lay modifier. Let me make 3 of these. That. So those are our talismans. Which I like how that looks. So now we'll go on and make some more stuff. So I'm gonna add a cherry blossom, maybe 2 cherry blossoms, but they're gonna be highly stylized. So we'll just make a very stylized cherry blossom. So we can do that by adding a cylinder. Moving it, shifting it over. There we go. So now we have our cylinder. Just gonna go select this by itself. We have our cylinder here. And then we will okay, perfect. So we'll have our cherry blossom here and it has 5 petals. So let me see if I can remember how to do this using box cutter. So we'll just one of these, move this in a little bit. We take that and we just subdivide it to see how it looks. Okay, doesn't look terrible, but what we do want is slightly more of a look here. Move these over a little bit. Take a cherry blossom, something like that. Gotta make this a little bit bigger here. Another thing we can do, we can take these all faces here and set them, push them in. Kind of. And then take these faces as well on the bottom. Take these vertices down here, move them in as well. They kind of have that more pushed in look, where they have a little bit of depth to them. Okay. We take these faces here in the middle. Down a little bit. And then we're probably going to push this one up slightly. So now it's looking a lot more like a blossom. Move these in here, and we're going to move these down, whole thing down a little bit. And now it looks like a blossom with depth. Gonna push this in a little bit more. These. Okay, and then we're just gonna give it another subdivision surfaces. Okay, I think that's good. I'm just gonna make this a little bit thinner. That. Make the petal also a little bit. A little bit tinier. Then we're going to use proportional editing. Move this over, move this inside a little bit. Okay. And then that's good, I think. Let me make this probably a bit. The middle portion is always not too big. Like that. And then we can move everything in slightly. Like that. So that's what it kind of looks like more. So then we're gonna see if I can lay this along here. So I'm going to see if I can do this in the using mesh mixer. Radial away. That does that. Okay. Five. And then I want to okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this middle portion and make it the object cursor, and we'll see if that works. 3D cursor. Okay, there we go. That's it, but I want them to be smaller. So I'm gonna make this just a bit smaller. Put down there. And then I'm going to do the same thing. So go into radial overlay. It took me so long to learn how to do this. And then I'm gonna, so this changes, so I'm just sitting X, or yeah, I'm just using X to change the axis. And then I'll just change C. Yes. There we go. What happened to the box? Oh, it kind of just melted. We take this radial portion, Make it smaller? Nope. So I'll just make this bigger. And then I will change the slide it again. Okay. Oh, I see. By moving it, I'm messing up its origin. Okay. We do it again. Now it's a 3D cursor. And then we hit X to change the rotational axis. So 3D cursor. And then let me see if I can just had it. Okay. I'm going to set the origin of this to the 3D cursor. Now maybe this works. The 3D overlays are so annoying to me. But when they work, they work. For some reason, it's not going like it was just doing the way I wanted it to. Let me just see if I can rotation and scale. Maybe this is better now. Oh, I see. There we go. So this is a 0, 5. There we go. Boy, that took a lot longer than I wanted it to. Okay. Let me just move this guy back here. And I'm going to just give this middle portion, the middle cylinder portion, a beveled edge. Just Control B. Also going to apply rotation and scale, give it a beveled edge. That. Okay, and then we have our stylized cherry blossom. And we're just going to move this over to here. Make it smaller. There. And this is why I really love making just like things. Making little objects is my favorite part of this whole process. And maybe if I could do an overlay that will overlay everything together. I'm gonna parent this. And then if I overlay this, just regular overlay. No. Okay. I can't just overlay it again. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy everything and add another one layer. And I'm gonna shift them a little bit. They don't look the same. That. So now we have our cherry blossom. We have our talisman. We have our lanterns from earlier. And now we're gonna go ahead and, oh, I really like how those blossoms came out. They're a little stylized. And now it's all making more sense. Okay, so we have our cherry blossom. And now we're gonna add our little wind charm. And then I'm probably going to do a wind charm. One of the statues from Spirited Away. A 7-flanked sword, a wolf fang, and just a one of the Imperial Regalia, the 3 items. It's gonna be the little thing that looks like a yin yang symbol, or like a half moon, or like a teardrop, and just like a little dude. Okay. So now we will go into making the wind charm. I don't know if anybody plays Pokemon, but it's like that Chimecho thing. So this one's pretty, I want to say this one's pretty easy. So you just add a UV sphere. You cut off the bottom portion of it by going in edit mode, selecting the vertices, deleting those. You don't want to delete, I'll delete to there. And then I'm going to just fill in this face with F. I'm going to inset it a bunch. I'm going to inset it, and then I'm going to add a bunch of edge loops there. I'm just going to pop it up so it bends in a little bit. Probably going to, it looks like there's like a, okay, so if you ever want to give something like a lip, so what you can do is you can, I'm going to subdivide surfaces. Okay, so that kind of looks like them. Nope, too short. So I'm gonna cut off more of the, less of the sphere. Maybe to down here. Yeah, that's better. Down here. Fill this. So I just selected the edge loop with Alt. Yeah. Alt left click, and then filled it. Add a bunch of edge loops here. Push this in. So just move it in the Z dimension. And have proportional editing on. That gives it a little bend. I'm gonna subdivide surfaces like that. And then I'm gonna give it a lip at the bottom here. So to make a lip, here's an easy way I learned how to do that. You can just Alt left click on the edge you want, or the edge loop, then you Shift D, and that gives you a copy of that edge loop. So then, without doing anything from there, you want to right click and separate by selection. So now you have that edge. Then you want to convert that edge into a curve by just right clicking and then going convert to curve, and then you just give it some depth, and now that's a lip. It works really well if you want to add lips on other things, but now it's looking a lot more like the wind chime. And then if you want to make it bigger or thicker, you can just add more. There we go. And now we can just add the paper talisman portion, the bottom, by just adding a cube. Something like that. And then we're just gonna add a sling. So to add a sling, I'll just duplicate this cube, make it into one single vertice by selecting all, going to vertex mode, and add center. So now we have that single vertex. We can just kind of move around. Then I'll go into skin. Then I'll go into subdivide. I'm also going to select all and yep. And then if you exclude, going to apply rotation and scale. There we go. So if anything ever looks weird to you, just try applying rotation and scale and maybe that'll fix it. So here's this thing. So you just add skin and subdivide surfaces modifier to a vertex. And then you just exclude that vertex. Then you just exclude that vertex. And then now you have a kind of sling-like thing. And then I'm just going to give it a little bit of a curve by adding another. You could also do this by drawing a curve. There's a lot of ways to do this. And it looks like they just kind of... I'll draw the curve. So, I think I showed you how to draw curves before. Okay. I'm gonna draw the curve here. Yeah. So what you do is you just add a curve. And then you go into edit mode, select all of them, delete it. Then you go to draw, and you just kind of draw the curve. Then you can go into give the curve some depth. And there you go. That's it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a little hole in the middle of this. Right here. Serve as the place that this would go in, and then I'm going to just kind of make it make more sense. And this is kind of just going to disappear into the background, so I don't need to loop it around perfectly. All I need to do is make it go through the hole. Some. That. And then I'm just going to move this to the middle. That's good enough for me. So what I normally do is I print these out to make sure things aren't too small, because I'm making a fairly small thing. Like this little envelope has a thickness of 0.3 millimeters, so I want to make sure that they come out well on the when you print them. But since it's going to be in the leaf, I think it's going to work out pretty well. It's going to give this up a lot more thickness. This thing. And then if you want to make an individual point thinner, you can. I'm gonna delete this point at the end here. There we go. And then I think that that's it for the bell charm. This is way too tiny. I'm just gonna make this bigger. This bell charm is probably too small. Something like this. I'm just gonna put it right there. Okay, so this is the bell charm. Gonna make one of these and put it over here. Put it right here. Put it down here. Everyone has the most space. And like I said earlier, I'm gonna kind of push it into the wall here. Going to do this. Then I'm just gonna push this down all the way. Or I'm gonna just subdivide here. Yeah, I'm just gonna push this back in. Okay. There you go. That works for me, I guess. There we go. It's a bit tinier. I'm gonna make this a bit tinier too. So I'm making them a little bit, so I can just adjust the depth here a little bit. There we go. What else we got? We have the Jizo statue. We have the 7-branch sword. I'm gonna do a couple of wolf fangs, or fangs just in general, which are not very hard. A half moon. So 1, 2, 3. Half moons. Okay. I'm just gonna copy this. There'd be a lot of these. I'm gonna see if I can also I'm just gonna copy all these. Okay. And then this one. I'm gonna copy this in. Okay. I'm just gonna copy, duplicate them, shift them down. There we go. Okay. So now we can go ahead and see what else we got going on. Okay, so I'm gonna do a 7-figure sword now, which I'll probably do the same way, a similar way that I did the... No, probably a different way. So I'm just gonna get a plane. Go into edit mode, merge them at the center. And now I'll do the same thing, skin, subdivide surfaces. And then you have to do Control A to make it bigger. So then I just extrude it up to here. We'll call it. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 branches. And then the main one at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So I'm going to divide this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that works. So now I'm just going to extrude it like this. This one here, this one here, one here, this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, they all go in the same direction. Let me just get away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now I'm just gonna make them a little bit so they don't bunch up terribly. That's a division. Okay. So now what I'll do is I'll subdivide here, divide here, subdivide all of them like this. Okay, and then just move all of these down in the Z dimension slightly. That, and then I'll just move all of these here inwards. Make them less, kind of like that. Yeah, that's looking like our 7-branch sword. So now I'll take the tips of each of these, and I'll probably subdivide them one more time. And I'll take the tips and then make them thinner so they're kind of pointed. And I'll take the whole thing and then flatten it in the X dimension. So what I'm going to do is I'll just Control A, make them thinner like that. Maybe move these down just a bit. Maybe I just dissolve these entirely. That looks better. Okay, we're gonna move this in. That, move this in. Okay. And then we're gonna take the whole thing, and then we're gonna Control A in the Y dimension. There we go. Make the whole thing thinner. That. So shift them like that. And then it's just like the blanch portion. So what I think I will do is make it smaller like this, and then shift it in every one but the Z dimension. That, and then just kind of extrude it in the Y like this. And I actually like how that looks. So what I will do is I will probably go down a subdivision level here. Take it out like that in the. If I do that first. No. Okay. An issue happening right here. There we go. So, nope. Okay. No, I just fixed it. It's minor, so I'll fix it with the divided surfaces. Okay. So, this is overlapping here and causing weird geometry issues, but that's fine for now. So I'll probably take this here. I'll apply the skin modifier. and then I'll bisect it. Delete this. Take this and then just extrude it backwards. And then subdivide that and see how that works. We just fill in the bottom, the back side, into it a little bit, and then like how that looks. Why is that happening? Let me just delete that entirely. And then just move this in. That. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay. So divided another layer. I do kind of want it to look kind of funky. So I'll just leave it like that. Let me go down to subdivision here. Then I'll probably just apply the subdivision and then just fill this in. There we go. Then I think I'm going to just flip it. That's what I'm going to do. Or invert it. So let me just apply this. Like subdivision surfaces like that. Fill this side in, because this back side looks a lot better than the front side. So then I'll do S, so scale, Y -1, and that mirrors it. There we go. Very stylized version that I'm okay with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yep, that works for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So now we have the 7-pointed sword. We have 3 things left. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now I'm going to add. I think I'm going to add the wolf teeth next, which is pretty easy. So all you want to do is you want to add a curve. Want to add a curve like that. Then you want to give it some depth. Find a picture of what a tooth looks like from a, okay. Something like this. So divide this a little bit so that this comes in more. Want to take one vertex, Alt S. Get tinier here, Alt S there. Well, a little bit more. And then we can move this in. And then we can go ahead and probably going to give it a little bit more. That. There we go. Then we're going to go ahead and convert this to mesh. And then I will fill in this final face here. Inset it. And then select, F to fill, inset. And then I'm going to kind of move it out to give the final sharp portion of the tooth. Do one more time. And that is what I'm going to go with for a fang. So now you can subdivide it a bunch, honestly. Fill in the back face. Subdivide it a bunch. And then after you've subdivided it a bunch, it's starting to look like a fang. You can kind of manipulate it a little bit in edit mode by using proportional editing and rotating it just a bit to give it a more striking pattern there. And then I'm probably going to get this and make it a little bit smaller here. Okay, and then I'm probably going to inset this more. And then just move this out a little bit. So just select it and G, move it out. So it kind of looks like a real fang. Gonna keep messing with the profile to get what you kind of like. Okay, so now you've done that, just apply it. And then you can go into sculpt mode. Gonna confirm rotation and scale. And the Z dimension, Y and Z. So then you can go in here with a moderately high strength, push. You want to turn on stabilize stroke. I don't need it in, I just need it in the Z. Yeah. And then you can just start drawing your marks through here to kind of make it look more like an actual fang. I'm probably going to reduce this length a little bit and make this even smaller. But I don't want to make it too small because we are working with, this is going to be tiny, a tiny part of a bigger piece. So I'm just going to make them kind of big. Right from here. Okay. Something like that. And then you just do that. Okay. And then this is our wolf fang. And then you can probably do, maybe add a couple smaller ones, just kind of at random to give it more, give it a little bit more depth on everything. Give it a little bit more life. So mostly when modeling, don't be afraid to go into sculpt mode more often, because it's really easy to do and you can add a lot of little details and give a lot of life to your your miniatures if you do it that way. It's also kind of looking like a paint plush. There we go. And that's what we'll just call our tooth, or fang. Call that our fang. Make sure that's completely in. I'm gonna put this at like 75 degrees. Okay, there we go. So we only have 2 items left for what it dispenses, the dispensing of the vending machine. And the items we have left are a little teardrop thing, which I honestly don't know how I'm gonna make, but we'll figure it out. I'm just gonna mess around with it until I get it, which is also another fair and valid way of doing it. So just add a UV sphere, proportional editing, so it's like something like that. I'm gonna rotate this top portion a little bit more. Something like that. Gonna scale it in the Y dimension a little bit. Something like that. I'm going to subdivide surfaces. And then I'm going to just go ahead and add. So they all look very funky, so I'm just going to go add. Like in general, when I see these, they tend to look funky. They don't always look very symmetrical. And nobody's ever seen it. So I'm just going to go ahead and add the circle fluid. All right. Perfect. Probably make that circle a little bit smaller. We have this one, and then we have this one. There we go. Okay. Now I'm gonna make those. Now I'm gonna make them much smaller, the circles. Scale into the individual origins. There we go. That's better. And then we have the last dispensing item of the spiritual vending machine, which is the little statue from Spirited Away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, you should also constantly be saving, so constantly save. So I'm going to try to do this like I normally would do it, which is mostly in sculpt mode. And I'm not trying to get perfect since it kind of doesn't look perfect. And that's probably part of it. So just do all of my little modeling. Looking at a reference picture of it. Something like this. This part comes in a little bit. And then another one here. One comes in a little bit as well. And then I'm just going to finish this bottom part here. So the red surfaces a little bit. And then get to sculpting. Okay, so now okay. Now what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and sculpt. So save this. Go add some dynamic topology. Add some dynamic topology here. Constant detail. We'll start with 1. Way too little. Put 5. A good amount. Set this length to 0. 7.5. Okay, so this works. Perfect. Let's go to 10. Okay, so the first thing to do is the face portion, which I'm just gonna go by adding a face here. So go into mask. Set your mask at 100% or 1. Kind of like this. If anybody's being spirited away, it's a thing at the very beginning. Before I hit the mask, I'm gonna smooth out this face portion here. And down here as well. Now I will take this. Just fill in the general shape of what the face should look like, which is something like that. There we go. There we go. Here we go. And then we will go ahead and but make sure the edges are clean by stabilizing stroke and clean up the edges. Like this. There we go. Okay, so now we're gonna invert the mesh, and then we're going to use the clay slips tool for not dynamic topology. Going on my tablet recently, kind of annoying to model because there's, or to sculpt because there's something going on my tablet recently. Way too much. So maybe set it to 0.2. Add a little bit of volume there. This is where the face will be. Yep, that's where the face will be. So then we're going to smooth this out a little bit higher. Okay, that's where the little face portion is going to come out. Just give it a little bit more volume here. There we go. Then we're gonna move it a little bit more. Like that. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to see where the nose would be. Once again, go use the clay slips tool for the nose. Something like that. And this doesn't have to be the most highly detailed because it's going to be very small on this already small area. So that's where the nose is going to be. Gonna smooth that out as well. I'm going to use the crease tool to kind of define the nose a little bit more. That. Gonna smooth that out again. Okay, and then we're gonna give the eyebrows. This is a fairly stylized thing. Object. So like this. They lead into it. We're gonna smooth this area as well. Good. That portion is smoothed. And see, you're already seeing the general shape of it. You can see it already, that's good. So then we are going to just, once again, go clay slips tool. Yeah, that may be a little bit too much. So as we get further in, we can go ahead and add a little bit more geometry than normal. So that we did 10 on the whole thing, maybe we go double it to 20. So then we can make it a little bit, everything a little bit more detailed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and kind of push this in a little bit using the draw tool. I should be right there. And then here, kind of has a pinched nose thing here, which I'm not gonna, honestly, I'm probably not gonna go in full detail there because, like I said, it's a small portion. If I were making this guy bigger, I would probably go and make a lot more detail. So that you work with the proportions a lot. But I'm not doing that because I don't have to, because this guy's very tiny. And I'm exaggerating a lot of features because, once again, this is going to be sculpted. And then we're just gonna kind of use the glad brush a little bit, move this down. That. Perfect. I'm gonna kind of really separate this off. That. So we really want to have a distinction between this nose portion. Okay. Perfect. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna, I'm gonna control I like now. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do that little top part of his hood. Should bring in I should bring in a reference, but just look up Spirited Away statue and you'll probably find it. Okay. Has a little hood there. Then I'm going to smooth it a little bit. Then I'm going to inflate it just a little bit. I'm gonna go back, smooth it. And that's probably what I want. And then I'm just gonna do the arms here, which are pretty simple. I'm just gonna do that with the clay slips tool as well. Kind of just holding he, she, they, it, not it. I could eat the spirit, the statue. Kind of holding it, holding itself like there. And you do want it to all melt into each other. Make a little bit of a distinction here, and then just smooth it. Make a distinction here, and then smooth that as well. And then kind of looks like there's some indentations here, so I'm just going to use the snake hook tool and move this portion down a little bit. Kind of like this. And then just going to smooth it, add a little bit more volume in the body part here. There we go. Do this. There we go. And that's the portion in the middle. And then I'm going to undo the mask. I'm going to smooth out this portion up top a little bit so that it doesn't, there's no overlapping geometry. Because if you have overlapping geometry, your 3D print won't print well. There we go. And now we can go ahead and add the mouth, which I'll do by just using the mesh, the mask modifier, adding the mouth, making it big, making it wide. And once again, it's all in miniature, so I'm exaggerating all the details you would normally find. And then I'm just going to invert this, use the draw brush in the negative dimension, and just push the dot all in. That. And then I'm going to go and use the smooth tool where the lips face. Probably made it too wide. So I'm going to go probably like there is good. Okay, then do the same. And then we can, there we go. That's better. There we go. And I'm probably going to use the pinch tool on the corners to kind of tighten the corners up a little bit. Gonna lower the length. And then I'm gonna use the glab tool to move them up a little bit. Your snake hook tool, add a smaller. I'll just leave it how it was. And then the only thing left is the eyes, which I'll go back into the sculpt tool here. There's no eyes, there's only like eyelids. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add an eyelid here, which honestly may not even be visible due to, once again, how small everything is. So I'm just gonna go invert this. Make a clear distinction here between the eyelid and the eye. I just use this in the negative dimension or the positive dimension. Push it out, like that, and smooth it. Okay. There we go. Perfect. And that's our statue. Push this one back. Was that the last one? That was the last one. Hey, we're done. I didn't even notice. We're done with the people we have to add in. Okay. So this is our vending machine dispensing stuff. Let me just give some colors to this so we can see it more live. How it would probably look, or not IRL, but as close as we can get to that. So these are these. This. We have our talisman here. They will also be wood. And like that color. Same here. We'll have our fang, which will make it tannish. Have our statue, which will melt clay. Bluish clay. We have our swords, which will make the same color as the wood. Or the sling, the rope. And then we have our cherry blossoms, which we will make pink. And then the interior ones will be left. Okay, there we go. That's our spiritual vending machine. Not yet though. So that's all of what the spiritual vending machine is going to dispense. And oh, let me just go and this is a blue. And just make this flood. There we go. There's our spiritual vending machine. At least what it's going to dispense. So now what we're going to do is we're going to save. And normally I would make a copy of this and all of its cutting portions of it. But what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to convert this to mesh. And then delete the two booleans. So cutter 1, cutter, and then cutter point 1. So I'm just going to convert this to a mesh. No problem. And then delete these two cutters. Okay. And then now I'm just going to give it a wood grain texture. So the way I do that is simply, it kind of looks like Waddle Dee. I mean, Big DDD. Anyway. So the way I'll do that is by saving. Going into sculpt mode, well, confirming scale and rotation. Perfect. So then what I'll do is I'll just go into X, turn on rotation scale. Y is okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some dynamic topology. Start with 1. That's too little. So a 5. That's also too little. Actually, that may be enough. Yep. Okay, perfect. So now we've added dynamic topology. So now we're at like 5,000 verts. You can see in edit mode, it's pretty dense. Pretty dense everywhere except for this little portion. So I'm gonna go make more dense. That's why you want to start at like 1 and then go to like 2 if you're ever using dynamic topology, because if not, you will clash your Blender and possibly your computer. So now that that's that, oh, and in the center, I'm going to add some wood grain texture. There's a couple ways you can do this. I'm going to fly one and see how it looks, and if I don't like it, I'll just go back and fly the other way. So the first way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use my wood grain texture alpha blushes. So I'm just going to import them here. Find my blushes. We're gonna go into our sculpting blushes folder. I'm just gonna find it. Spark texture. Let me see if I have it here. Okay, here we go. So now we can go ahead and use this oak barrel. Make sure dynamic topology is turned off. And then we can add wood grain like that. Change this into area plane, change this to anchored. You see there. That, but you want to pick this length a little bit lower. Or maybe I'll just do space and just tap it. I think it's a very subtle one. So maybe I will increase this length to 35 and reduce the size here and front faces only. And then just tap it. So this will show up. Gonna increase it even more. I think I'll just go with that. Just gonna increase it more to like 60. But it starts to, there we go. Starts to distort the general shape of it, which I guess is, I'm fine with. Fine. Increase the space to 10 or to 20. I want that. Maybe increase the space to 50. So that's what happens when you hold it down. So I'm just gonna go down maybe there. Okay. Make sure this is also front face only. Accumulate. And down the middle. And then we'll just do the font. And then this is another way to do it. And now you've added your wood grain texture here. And this will be fairly subtle. And then for the roof, we can do the same thing. You can go in edit mode. Up. Convert to mesh. Then we can go into edit mode here. Add some geometry. Rotation scale. Go into add some geometry here. And then do the same thing, where we just add some texture here. Yeah, so this seems slight, but it will be seen. Like it is deep enough. And sometimes what I do is I just can go in later with and just make my own as well. So in addition to that, I can go and make my own very broad ones here. So that's one mode of doing it. Oh, here we go. Something about this doesn't work when I do that. I think it's because it's here. Oh, it's because I'm in the wrong one. There we go. Now we're doing here again. Why is this not working? Texture, nothing. How it normally works, right? Maybe just turn that off. There we go. Perfect. So now we can go in and make our own tinier ones. Or not tiny ones, but more. Then we can go in and make our own like that. Maybe at us. Like this. This is the other way to do it. You can do it one of two ways. So one's more realistic, but it gives you less to work with when you're painting. And I'll just leave it like like that. So with this being said, with our design here, this is our, I'm gonna change this to something maybe a different color. More, there we go. This is our spiritual vending machine, a vending machine that'll help you along your travels. So this is how it looks at the very end. We have our little guys in there, we have our petals, we have our charms, and everything looks good to me. And that's, yep, I think I like how that looks. So thank you everybody watching this two-parter. I hope you have a nice day, and I'll probably get this printed up sometime over the weekend or tomorrow, and start painting it and do it, throw it on my Instagram. Let me just change the color of these too. More irony. There we go.